All right, let's start with the pledge. Barbara Hickman, could you please lead us? Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Barbara. Songsters, what have we got? Oh, we have a violin. Perfect.
They coming?
Hey, folks, we have a really unique talk today about the Violins of Hope concerts coming up in February. And we thought we'd ask Beth to join us on violin for a song that was written in the 1940s, La Vie en Rose. Hope you can join us in singing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, the magic spells you cast is love beyond over. When you kiss me, heaven sighs, and though I close my eyes, I see La Vie en Rose. When you pass me to your heart, I'm in the world apart, a world where roses blow. And when you speak, angels sing from above. Every day words seem to turn into love songs. Give your heart and soul to me, and life will always be La Vie en Rose. And when you speak, angels sing from above. Everyday words seem to turn into love songs. Give your heart and soul to me, and life will always be La Vie en Rose.
Well, I blew my one little finger.
All right, thank you very much. Great job. Great job. Alan Burnham's thought of the day.
Well, many of you may know that I'm the new membership chair. And if you look at the plaque here, it says Imagine Rotary. So I was going to imagine what Rotary might look like in 10 years and how we're going to get there. Now, when we came in 77, the idea of Livermore diversity was there were cowboys and there were propeller heads. And so if you look at this chart, you can tell which one I am. But anyway, what I wanted to show you is that Livermore has changed. If you had not noticed, Livermore has changed in the last 40 years. Back in 1970, 97% of the population was white. Today, it's about 60%. However, if you look at the census data, there's actually races and ethnicity, and they're not the same. And the Census Bureau does not actually give you the information about what race Hispanics are, but there's enough data there. You can go back, calculate it. So, so I made this plot here showing that of the non-Hispanic, it's roughly 50%, 55% white. And then there's a spread of people in the Hispanic community. And multi-race is growing very rapidly, as well as Asian. So when you think about where Rotary is going, and how these trends might change over the next 10 years, we need to be able to be looking for how to accommodate the changing demographics in Livermore. And so for the 2 to 3 members that each of you recruit this year, I would like you to know about where your potential membership target should be. Thank you.
Announcements. Well, this is a first announcement. Alan Frank is this evening presenting his new book, Livermore and the Railroads. Alan, you got a few things to say to get more people to it and to pimp your book, which is available on Amazon?
No, it's not
Not yet.
available on Amazon. It's available at the Heritage Guild, and there'll be copies there tonight. But what the talk is all about, it's really a history of Livermore. And it's, most of you don't know, but Livermore started with the Transcontinental Railroad almost simultaneously within weeks. And it was the railroad that helped build the town. So I'm going to be talking about the relationship of Livermore and the railroads from when they first emerged to today. So everyone's welcome. Thank you. No cost at the library. 7 o'clock.
And Alan, since you're promoting, is there anything that else you might to kind of, lubricate the attendance?
Well, I suppose I could join the President's Club.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Alan. All right, there's a few things in the chat I'm going to raise here. That Carolyn says that the song, right, was she remembers it from the most recent version of A Star Is Born, and Kathy Coyle added that it's at least a third version of that movie, and I'm pretty sure I've seen all 3 of those. But exactly, so thank you. Next step, Joel. Mike Thompson, more golf.
We are from tomorrow 2 weeks away from our annual mystery golf. If you haven't already signed up, I can take 1 or 2 more. Just see me and let me know. It's $45. We're meeting Thursday, August 11th at 11:45, Starbucks in the downtown shopping Ace Center, for want of a better description. And we're having dinner at Star Anise at 6:30 that evening. So if you would let me know if you're going to make dinner also. Thank you. And it's all fun.
Except for the president gets 2 strokes a hole. All right. Joel Swanson, you want to come up here, Joel, or you would go from there?
Okay, folks, just letting you know, on August 18th, the Maryland Avenue hot dog dinner is going to be happening again. You see some pictures from 2019 there, and it's sort of an all hands kind of effort. We have a sign up list. It was over on the table where you picked up your badge. I'm not sure where it is now, but it's eventually going to be populated and put on DACDB. Now, we also need some other volunteers. I browbeat Keith into being the Spur reporter today. I'm trying to get rid of this generic Spur reporter not here button on our front line. And we also need audiovisual trainees, of which I am one today. I hope I don't crash and burn on my first solo. But the reason they brought me in was because Dennis and Paul are going to be out of town in the fall. Well, guess what? I'm going to be out of town in the fall. So we need some more trainees. Step right up. It's a fun job already.
Thank you very much, Joel. Let's have him queue up the next one. I know I've got a couple other announcements. Well, let me do the acknowledgements. Yes, just hold on. So let me acknowledge the Spur Reporter. Please, somebody volunteer in the future. Today would be great, but we really am echoing what Joel is saying. Our Spur publisher today is Don Wentz. Our meeting photographer, of course, is the wonderful Irv Stowers. Audiovisual, of course, is Joel. And our Zoom host and chat monitor is Jeff Youngsma. Thank you very much for all your service. Let's do introduction of visiting Rotarians and guests. Do we have any visiting Rotarians? Catherine?
A perennial visitor is Josh Jonas from Aruka, which is a nonprofit for it's a men's transitional home, either from prison or homelessness. And I know he's a friend of Roland's and he's been here more than once. Oh, Ronnie's too. Okay, all right.
Thank you. Welcome. I'm not seeing anyone else in the room here. Oh, no, we have, okay, hold on, Ronnie. Let me, are there any visiting Rotarians on Zoom? I don't see a hand up. Jeff?
No, I do not see any visiting Rotarians on Zoom.
Thank you. All right, let's do guests. Ronnie?
Hello, everyone. Proud to announce that Livermore Grocery Outlet continues to run on. Scott and Kelly, who helped us launch One Nation Dream Makers Food Ministry and the last mile, passed the baton. And now I'd like to introduce to you Gajan and Raji, who are the new owners of Livermore Grocery Outlet.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate your business in town. Okay, before we do member recognition, I got a few more announcements. This is the best damn 90 minutes of your week. I think it's growing on you, but our wonderful committee, Mark Roberts, who's the chair, president, has an announcement.
Well, President Splin, thank you for this time. Presidential themes are critical to inspire the success of a local club to recruitment and member retention, to the overall impact that a club has on the community and on the world. Because of this, President Splin has appointed a steering committee to address this critical task, including David Rounds, myself, and Sheila Fogliano. I want to give a monthly report to you as we're making progress. The steering committee has been formed and held its first meeting. Bylaws and rules were evaluated, open meeting, conflict of interest, financial reporting, Robert's Rules of Order, filibuster. We determined that rules were unhelpful. However, wine is necessary. We debated whether the steering committee should actually be a blue ribbon commission, but determined that blue might be interpreted as a political statement. So we retained the steering committee title, determined that more resources would be necessary to complete the important task, unanimously approved a request to send it to for a budget increase, voted to send the budget increase to the finance subcommittee to finalize the amount, figured out we didn't have a finance subcommittee, appointed a finance subcommittee that actually was made up of a committee scheduled to review the budget, determined that we need a leadership group to lead the process, scheduled a meeting to discuss the process of appointing a leadership group. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Enormous progress on that.
Thank you. We anticipate at this point. I just can't wait for the next report. However, I do suggest that, there is apparently a cannabis dispensary going to be opening up somewhere near here. There are some things that you might be able to slow down a little bit on this reporting. So just, you may want to think about that. Part of your committee outreach. Okay, great. Okay. Let's see, Norm.
Is it live? Yeah. Well, I've got an update. Finance committee met and we kicked around the notion of how best to do the President's Club. So I'm really pleased that Alan did that today. It's a good kickoff. We're trying to simplify it. So what we've come to is that to be in the President's Club, the $250, You can give that money to either the club, the Rotarian Foundation, or RI. You can do that in whole. And if you wish to break it up, that will be okay. I just need to know, just like when I know if you're giving 250, where it's going, so we actually can keep track of the President's Club. And then in some way, maybe show it off.
Thank you very much, Norm. Irv, you have a question?
Well, it depends on what point in time. But the latest version before this was 100 to RI, 100 to the foundation, and 50 to the club. Now that becomes a nuisance all across the board, certainly for the treasurer, if no one else, because that means 3 separate checks or 3 separate, MasterCards or Zelle or whatever. So we're trying to make it easy, but if somebody wants to break it up, you decide how you want to break it up. Rather than what is this mythical 100, 150?
Great. Any other questions? Don? Well, why don't we wait till we get the mic to you?
Just want a clarification. Are you saying 1 check for President's Club? Yeah.
Or I'm just gonna walk on this side.
Hey, this one's supposed to happen. You let me know where it's going. I will, if it's a check, I'll move it to Goud or I'll move it to the foundation, since I'm on the foundation anyway. And if it's to the club, that's easy. I'll cash it.
Okay, so first of all, your premise is inaccurate, Don. We don't use checks anymore. You heard Gordon a few months ago tell us, don't use checks. We are moving into at least the 2010s. Let's at least get there. All right, any other questions? Loretta, would you like me to mention Maryland Avenue once again? Or do you want to do it?
I just want to invite everyone to come and have a great time at Maryland Avenue School Barbecue, back to school barbecue. And so that is August 18th. That's a Thursday. And there is a sign-up sheet. And the event itself happens from 5 to 7. I know a lot of you came before and had a great time. I promise you'll have another great time.
Thank you, Loretta. Thank you very much. Oh,
5
right.
to 7.
One more announcement. Back to Ronnie.
Alameda County Supervisor David Halbert is not only a champion for One Nation Dream Makers, but he is for our entire community, fighting hard every day to help support those in need. That's why I'm so proud to support his annual barbecue event every year, and I'm inviting all of you to join me and so many others. Juliet Goodrich is the host, the Bell Brothers Live Band, open bar. We will join in providing all you can eat barbecue and even some Filipino food. It's a great time for all. So we hope to see you there this Friday at the Alameda County Fairgrounds.
Thank you very much, Ryan. And so that's going to be on the Pleasanton downtown side. That's how you can access it. I've gone for many years. It used to be a fundraiser. It's no longer. So it's a community event now. And you'll still have the same, the firefighters all making chili and then Ronnie's going to be barbecuing and local wineries and beer is served there. And you'll get to meet a lot of fun people, especially the supervisor. Okay. All right. I have just a tearful message here. I'll read. I just have to read. This is not on the screen, right, Joel? Okay. Well, dear President Splund, while I'm on a very much needed sabbatical, I did hear through the grapevine that I have left quite a void. Of course, my intent was not to make your job more difficult. So to fill in on that void, I took the privilege of contacting account temps. They've sent Bob to fill in my absence. I will be checking in with fellow Rotarians as to Bob's performance. Best regards, Gordon Gavel. I guess I'll give it a try. Well, as another affront to my being here on this, I mean, I'm relegated to a piece of wood. Now, I'm going to have to make somebody pay for this. I'm sorry. Now, the obvious choice is Trex. You deal with wood, right? But I'm not looking at you. Okay, we will go it. Trex has offered to make a gavel. But go ahead if you.
No, yeah, how can I help?
Okay,
Yes, I
great.
deal with wood on a daily basis.
But I think where I want to go, is Bob Cowan. Today is his birthday. And you're thinking, what does wood have to do with Bob Cowan? Now, Bob is an occasional golfer, and I've played with Bob. Bob, are you more likely to hit a tree than to avoid the tree?
I refuse to answer on the grounds that my scorecard might be inspected.
So, you're a suspect here because this probably came from a branch that you hit, that you killed, and that had to be cut down. And this is what I got out of it. Now, would you
deny
like to
everything.
continue being a suspect, or would you like to buy your way into freedom?
This is a tough question, so. So actually, my game has been improving a little bit, so I will join the President's Club in celebration. How's that?
Thank you very much, Bob. Appreciate it.
And by the way, I shoot my age every round.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I do have some thoughts. I know you're probably wondering, I'm like, well, normally the president talks a little bit about him or herself and stuff. So I want to give you a little bit, but I am telling you that I have engaged some very high level people in Washington to track down that gavel. And I'm going to have more for you in a week or two. That I'm not sitting still here. I'm going to find that gavel. And by the way, if you don't know this, Amazon sells gavels. All right. So if we don't have anybody else, I'll just say a little bit about me. Oh, I'm sorry, Beth. Oh no, I forgot. I'm going to pick on you guys. Sorry. Let's go back to the photos. There we go.
Thank you, Joel, for
There
continuing
you go. I
to
totally
show it.
forgot. Beth, please stand up.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, actually Kathleen was there also. Those of you who were at the Livermore Valley Opera event that we had, wine in the opera in the vineyards, perfectly lovely, and quite a number of you were there. But Kathleen and Debbie and I were there volunteering and helping people to their seats and everything. And Kathleen actually bought us an aria. And so this wonderful baritone, very handsome young man, came and sang his aria, famous, wonderful aria, to us. And it was just absolutely thrilling. So I would like to give $50 to the music scholarship in honor of Kathleen and her very generous.
Thank you, Beth. That's wonderful. Thank you. And you guys get around. I'm talking about Debbie, Catherine. Is there another photo, Joel, or did we get that? You missed it. Okay, well, I'm gonna pick on Catherine and Debbie, if you guys, and Carol, but I don't think Carol's here, right? You were at an event the other night, weren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, and you tried to pass off to a dear friend of mine that you are my twin sister.
No. This is how the story
Don't
went.
wave the finger at me at this
This
point.
is not how it went. This is a funny story. When I met Splend 20 or 30 years ago, I don't know how long ago, I was asking him about his name, Splendorio. How did you get that? And so he told me whatever he told me. I don't remember what it was. But then he said to me, oh, but by the way, I have a twin sister named Splenda. And I believed you all these years. And then I met this guy the other night who was a speaker here recently. And I said, do you know, because he was talking about you. And I said, do you know him very well? And he said, well, yeah, he's my attorney. And I said, does he have a twin sister named Splenda? And obviously you do not. So he texted you that saying that he met a twin sister, but that's not how it went down. But that was funny.
Well, thank you for correcting the
Do
story.
you have a sister named Splenda at all?
Yes, I do, actually. She's 4 years younger than me.
Seriously.
Yeah. I'm sorry? Yeah, her name is Splenda. Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
Splend. I'm Splend. I have a sister named Splenda. And do you know what my brother's name is?
No, Splendo.
Phil.
So I was right to believe you, but she wasn't your twin.
All right.
That was good.
All right. Thank you very much. And Catherine, if you want to join, Beth's and adding $50 to the.
I'll
music-
also do $50 to the
Thank you
Music
very much.
Foundation. for
Thank you.
sure.
And I will contribute to the RI.
Thank you. Great job. Thank you very much. Okay. So I know we have Eileen coming to fix this. I added a little bit of my family, how I grew up. I grew up in Orange County. And there's something you should know. I've told Tim and Stu and stuff that I was a beach boy. I mean, I wasn't in the beach, but there was weeks on end, months on end where I spent every day at the beach. That was just our lives that we did. And so I'm in love with, the beach, whatever I'm in the car and I want to relax, I will always listen to the Beach Boys. That's just my thing. And, but my parents were immigrants. They came here from Italy. My father actually stowed away on a ship in 1926 because and he fought in World War II. He then went back to Italy, married my mom, and he was 50 when I was born, and I have as I mentioned, a younger brother and a younger sister, and we all grew up, like I said, in Orange County, and I thought it was always fun because all I ever got to do was be a jock, play sports, or just go to the beach. And I think you'll hear that more throughout the year, how much I really do enjoy going to the beach, although I can't be in the sun any longer, but that's probably my most peaceful place. I like being at the beach. I love walking on the sand, doing things. So enough about me for now, but let's introduce we have a great program today. And am I doing the intro or is someone else doing the intro? No one told me anything. Okay. Would you like to do the intro? Okay. Eileen, come on up here. Eileen, okay. While Eileen is walking.
My faux pas.
So just come back. Eileen is a past member of our club. And she was a great member and she was so awesome, retired and lives in town and she was great and she has a great program. Eileen Virginia.
Thank you. Thank you, Splend. I know a lot of you, some of you I don't. I'm Eileen Virgino. I am retired from the lab. I actually I am a seismologist. I don't do science anymore. I'm having far too much time and enjoyment in Rotary and retirement. And since I'm not in Rotary, I can't get fined for having all that fun. I'm here to talk to you today about a program that we have coming this fall or this winter. But I want to start on it's being done under the auspices of the East Bay Holocaust Education Center. We stood up the center back in you want me over here, Beth? Okay. We stood up the center in 2021, and with the idea that we're more than 80 years, we're nearly 80 years since the end of the war. And we've got a generation now that truly doesn't know the Holocaust existed or I've heard only a few things. They think it was a few hundred people. And so the idea was that this grave man's inhumanity to man, it's an important message, whether it's about the Holocaust or other grave injustices. It's important to share the past. And so we stood up the East Bay Holocaust Education Center with the idea that we would share the message, share the stories, and hopefully prevent anything like this from happening again. It's done under the auspices of the Chabad Center in Pleasanton. And it is an independent nonprofit. We've done a number of educational programs. And in fact, as COVID was literally at our doors, we were at Foothill High School doing a program with students, and we were summarily sent home. I was one of those people, thank goodness, did not get infected, but we ended up doing everything remote with the teachers, which you can well imagine was very difficult. It is all done through volunteers and grants to support the program. So one of the things that we brought speakers in, and this year, one of the things we're bringing in, Joel, go ahead and go to the next slide. Should I go ahead? Okay. What we're bringing is Violins of Hope. And actually, it was kind of nice having Beth play the violin today. Thank you, Beth. Violins of Hope is a program that comes out of Israel. It's a father and son, Weinsteins, who have taken ownership of a series of instruments. And they're instruments that were owned by Jewish families, by individuals. Some of them were played during the Holocaust. They were hidden, damaged, buried. And so what's happened is these have survived being in the concentration camps, hidden in the ghettos, and journeys that have interesting journeys associated with each of them and the people who own them. And so it really is about the resilience of people, of the instruments, and of the music. And so one of the things we're doing is bringing the Violins of Hope here to Livermore. We're going to have concerts here at the Bankhead. In addition, we're going to have some educational programs, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But the idea is really to just share the message through music, and especially the message of resilience, because that really is the human spirit. We'll go ahead and go to the next slide. What I'd like to do is show you just a 4-minute video, because this probably says more than anything than I can about the Violins of Hope.
After the war, when all the atrocities that happened in Germany, in Poland, in other places arrived to Israel, this is the most difficult time of my life. When I asked my mother, where is my grandfather, where is my grandmother, where is my aunts, where all the family, she used to take a book of Vilna to show me the Ponar forest where they killed all the Jewish people, 80,000 people, and say, here is your family. My father, when he learned what happened to his family, how he lost about 400 people, he never spoke again about the Holocaust, never. When the war ended, my father was the head of the Vilna Association in Israel. So many of the new immigrants who survived and escaped came to our house for the first day in Israel. Nobody wanted to play on a German instrument. Nobody wanted to touch it anymore. So they came to my father and said to him, if you are not buying this violin, I'm breaking it or burn it. And for my father, this was sacrilege. And he bought every instrument that people bring it to him. And he knew 100% he can never sell it again. He could not fix it, but he could not throw it away.
Amnon's spirit is expressed in the way he works. He brings the violins more to life than they were originally made for. He calls me sometimes and says, listen, there are those two sisters who came here, old ladies, who buried the violin in Holland underground and took it out after the war. And they brought me that violin. I'm going to bring it back to life.
The Holocaust is a story of death, but the Holocaust is also a story of hope. because many people survive. And the music was a part of it. When you know other stories of the violin, you find that many violins brought hope with them. People that know to play very well and know to speak through the violin can tell you all the stories of the world. Each violin like this is a Jewish violin 100%. So we're buying every violin like this or getting a gift every violin like this. We are restoring the violin. So now when you hear the violin again, he can pray. And if he can pray, he's talking for these people.
If you think about it, just over 70 years ago, Jewish people were not allowed to play. Only in camps, under the most terrible conditions. Today, we take these instruments to the biggest stages in the world.
Look, the Nazis are not anymore. The violins, they are. And the violin are playing. And when they are playing, it is victory. And when it is victory, you cannot take it away.
Excuse me, this is Zoomland. We are not seeing Eileen's presentation, so we didn't see the video. So I'm not sure what's going on, but we were not able to see that out here on Zoomland, Eileen.
Okay, so we can make the, you've got the video, and if people are interested, we can send the link for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. So one of the things we're doing, you go to the next slide, Joel. One of the things we're doing is, I'll talk about the concerts in a moment, but we're going to actually be setting up the violins along with their stories and information, and it'll be a docent exhibit in the lobby of the Bankhead. And it will be there from January 31st to February 12th. And so you get a chance to see these restored instruments and get some understanding of of what role music played in people's lives during the war and following the war. And then how these instruments and the people who played them ended up providing the underpinning initially for the Palestine Orchestra, which and inevitably in 1948 became the Israeli Philharmonic. And then in addition, one of the things we're sponsoring is the last 2 years, we've had an art and writing contest for students, for high school students. And this year, we're going to put the writing and art contest will be centered around the music and the violins of hope. So we'll be awarding some scholarships and awards to students, and those will be exhibited also in the Bankhead. Go ahead to the next slide. Let me tell you a little bit about the other thing we're doing are the school concerts. We are bringing a few of the instruments along with a couple soloists, and Avshi Weinstein, the son of Amnon Weinstein, who works with his father. He is coming for the program. And in addition to speaking at the Bankhead, he will be going to all the schools. We're going to all the middle schools and high schools in Livermore, Dublin, Pleasanton, San Ramon, Unified, and we're also talking to Mount Diablo. So we're visiting all of the schools, all of the students, the middle school and high school students will have a chance to see the instruments, hear them played, and to hear the stories about them. And so it's really about, again, it's bringing a difficult story to the kids, but through music, and using music as this wonderful venue to share the information and share the resilience and hope that transpired at the end of the war. And then finally, go ahead to the next slide. we have 3 concerts at the Bankhead, and that's one of the reasons, the biggest reasons I'm here today, is to talk to you really about making you aware of the concerts and encouraging people to buy tickets. We have three performances. On February 5th, which is Sunday, we have a matinee performance. And then the 6th and 7th are evening performances, all again in the Bankhead. It's being done in conjunction with the Livermore Amador Symphony. I know Alan is working with Laura Weber and Beth on the selection of the music. Thank you, Beth. On the selection of the music and what will be played. And we have our Lindsay Deutsch, who's our violinist, soloist, and a cellist, Peter Bedrosian, who will be coming to both be playing solos. And there is, in fact, in addition to violin, you saw violins, it's called Violins of Hope, but in fact, we are going to also have a cello here as well. And then Avshi Weinstein, the son, who's also the co-founder of the Violins of Hope, will be telling stories during the performance. So you'll get a chance to hear more about the instruments and more of the backstory on what they do. And tickets went on sale July 1st. So I encourage you to look at attending the performances. Go ahead and I think the final slide. So I'm not here asking for money. I'm really here asking for you to really consider buying tickets and taking your family, and especially if you've got children, if they're not going to be able to hear the performances, consider the Sunday afternoon matinee. It's a great story. And so I think that's where I'm going to leave it. I brought some flyers. And so the other thing I would ask is, we're working with the local synagogues, but I don't have a big in with any of the churches. Any of you would be willing to take some posters to your local church, it'd be great, because we really would like to bring other partners on board. I was hoping I'd see Bill Nebo here today, but I'll call Bill because I want to get his help. We need to reach out to the ministers in the Valley as well, because we'd like to bring all the religious organizations as our partner in this. So I think I'll stop there and I'll take any questions you might have.
Thank you so much, Eileen. No, stay up here. No, we got questions. We're going to have questions for sure. Let's start off with Zoom. Okay, can't see the video, got all that. Kathy Coyle asks, is there still an interfaith council here? And I do believe the answer to that is yes. Josh, would you happen to know? If you don't know, okay.
There is, and we have not, thank you. There is Kathy, thank you. There is an interfaith council. 3 of us have reached out to them and we've not been able to get a response. So that's why I put a plea out here as well, to reaching out to the other faith members in our community, because we haven't had a lot of luck.
See if I have any others on Zoom. Jeff, if you see anything else.
Yeah, so far I have not. Oh, hang on. Carolyn has a question. Hers is, Eileen, what is your email address?
Oh, okay.
Or specifically, if you want to, I can connect you to some people at St. Charles. So.
All right, we can actually, you want me to send it out in the, I'll just type it in, yeah.
President Splin, I had a question.
Yeah, okay. Good, thank you, Eileen. Yes, go ahead.
I guess I was wondering, these violins, and I don't know if you can answer these questions, but this gentleman acquired these violins, and is their history like, is there family members that have come back and, wanted to know, did they keep extensive records? I mean, is there like a history trail on these violins? It just, I guess.
So thank you. Actually, that's a great question. So that's, as with artwork, doing provenance and trying to figure out who owned them, all of that That's part of their mission. In addition to restoration, they're really trying hard to understand what's the backstory. So each of these instruments comes with a story associated with them, who owned them, where they were played, all of that as best they can. And it's hard because we're now losing the end of the generation of those who survived.
Did any of the families want to get those back for, or are they donated to an institute or whatever?
So that's a great question. I don't know. But that's a great question for Avshi because he will be here. So come to the concert and ask. But I know that the foundation is in Israel, and they send the instruments are on the road for a big portion of the year. In fact, they're going to be in New York prior to being here. They're actually in Chicago right now. So between the time we'll get them, we take ownership on the 29th of January, and they will be there pretty well in concert from now until then.
Hi, from what I understand as a member of the symphony, and just what I hear, actually, I'm not helping choose the music. I raised my hand at the wrong time. Alan, who was our Symphony Association president, worked with our music director, Laura, and Tim is now our new incoming Symphony Association president. But not all of these instruments are world-class instruments. Many of them are like what I play. I am a very mediocre player. I sit last chair in the violin section because I'm a flutist, but they don't always need me as a flutist. So intermediate type instruments are very badly damaged instruments, but each one has its story. And I think it's the stories that are a really important part of this. So when we see the instruments, some of them, certainly the ones that are going to be played, are fine quality, but the others, maybe it's the fact that they survived and that they have these horrible but fascinating stories.
Thank you, Beth. That's exactly right. Because it really is a story, like I said, resilience, survival, and hope. And so for all of us who play instruments, I have a guitar I've had since I was 12. And my son is trying to cajole it out of me. I told him it's his eventually, but not now. But it's my guitar, and the instruments are meaningful to us, and there's a story that goes with it. And so in that case, the instruments all have a story associated with them. Anybody else? Well, thank you. Yeah.
Well, just give me one. You can pass it out. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Eileen. That wonderful presentation, and encourage everyone to attend the concerts. But I should have asked Eileen, when you go to the schools, do you need any volunteers?
So one thing are volunteers. And the answer is absolutely, we need volunteers. Being docents at the exhibit, if you'd like to do that, it'll be for a few hours at the bankhead. Driving, helping be the driver to the schools. We would love to have people participate in in those school concerts. So if you're interested, put my email out, send me a message. Simon Cohen, who some of you may know, is doing the volunteers, but we'll pass your name on and get you involved. We'd love to have more volunteers. And it's a great venue for Rotary because Rotary is all about giving back to the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eileen. All right. Mary Alice, you want the mic? All right. Okay, we can, I just have one more announcement, and that is I got some information from the district governor. Her visit isn't going to be until like November something or other. And we had some protocol. For those of you who've been here for a while, know that the district governor always gives a presentation, and a lot of times there's a gift. I know there was always a process where the district governor would bring a gift from the last club she visited and we would give her a new one and it would move on like that. She doesn't want that. She asked for instead, she asked for contributions, but she also said she would like to learn a dance step. She also said she wanted to learn a poem, but that ain't me. So I'm thinking we're going to learn a dance step for the district governors. So we'll have to plan that and see what we can come up with for her. Sound fun? I did not make Kathy Coyle. She's backed me up, Kathy. Is that what I was told?
Yep. Yep. Savita's fun. You have to imagine us teaching her a dance step.
All right. I do have a message here from Jim Hannon. He says, hi, I got here very late, but I just wanted to say hello. Awfully good to see you, even if on Zoom, Jim. Thank you, Jim. It'd be nice to see you in person. All right.